It's beautiful.
Hi everyone, this is Natalie, and I will be your Sunday sub-hostess for Witches of the Moon. Sunshine Morning Ray was having some issues with uploading her video today, so I have stepped up to fill in. This week's topic, as you know from the prior week's videos, is getting out of a magical slump. And this is my second attempt to record this video. I noticed after I uploaded the first one that there were some sound issues, so I do apologize if you were trying to watch the first one and this one came out. But I'm going to try to repeat what I talked about in the first video. For me, I can't say that I've personally been in a quote-unquote magical slump, but I can say that I do go through personal slumps. And when you go through kind of a personal point of depression or personal slump, it will affect your magic, your ritual, everything that you do. So, how do you get yourself out of this kind of situation? One of the first things to keep in mind is that these types of cycles are very normal and it will pass. Now, if you find that you've gotten into a depressive cycle that you cannot get out of, you might want to seek some level of professional help, whether that be a counselor or you may need medication. I'm not big on taking a lot of medications and avoid them as much as possible, but it is important to recognize that these types of slumps are normal, and dealing with those face on always helps. The first thing that I do when I find myself in one of these kinds of, depressive states is I will meditate. I think that meditation is one of the key, most important things you can do. I believe that it's important for preparing for ritual. It's important for keeping the balance in your life emotionally. It also helps to detoxify when you are physically stressed or emotionally stressed over a situation. And it helps you to gain clarity on a situation that maybe you're not sure what to do in. So when you are in a depressed state, meditation is always the first step that I will take. The next thing that I like to do when I am not feeling at my top is exactly kind of what you see in front of you. This is just a side view of my little tiny garden that I have. This is coming up the walkway to my front door, and then my garden spans out beyond that bush that's behind Mortimer here. This is Mortimer. And I find that getting back to nature always helps to lift my spirits more than just a little. Just getting out of doors and just sitting out on the grass and closing my eyes and feeling the breeze and hearing the birds, which I'm surprised they were singing their little hearts out when I got out here. Normally they're quite loud. Or going for a walk in the greenway behind my home. If you have a forest, I highly encourage that. The stillness and quiet of a forest walk I find to be one of the most personally cleansing and detoxifying things that you can do. But taking off your shoes if you can and allowing your feet to get grounded in nature, that really makes a huge difference. I'm a big proponent of going barefoot, even though I tell my children to put shoes on when they go outside. I will wear shoes as little as possible because I really just like the feel of the ground under my feet. So unless the concrete is scorching hot or there's an ant bed or there are thorns about, I'm going to be barefoot. But that really will allow you to connect back with nature and just allow your mind to begin to wander and clean itself. Especially if you have done a meditation prior to the walk, or you can find some nice quiet spot within nature to do your meditation. That's really going to help you. The third thing that I do, the last thing that I want to talk about, this is something that I have personally done almost my entire life. And this is not a strategy that helps everyone, but I have found that it helps a good number of people, and that is journaling. If you can take a moment to just jot down how you're feeling, put it all out on paper. If you're feeling angry, if you're feeling sad, if you're feeling particularly happy, but since we're talking about magical slumps, then, you're probably feeling sad or angry or unhappy, or a little mixture of all that. And I find that journaling helps me to not only expel that emotion, it also helps me to analyze as I'm writing out my feelings, why I'm feeling that way, and getting back to figuring out how to get myself into balance. Journaling, I think, could be a wonderful thing, and it doesn't have to be a big old long journal. What I simply do is I just will grab, I do have a journal that I keep my writings in, but you can just take a piece of paper and sit down and write out, I feel like shit today because, and just start writing. And I think you'll find that once you do start writing, it's just going to flow out from you, and with it tends to go a good amount of the negative emotion itself that you're feeling. It's almost as if you're putting your words out on paper, and we as witches believe that words have power. Well, the written word also has power. So when you are taking that emotion and you're putting it into writing, you are expelling that from within you, and I find that to be a tremendous help. And I did tell you a second ago that was going to be the last thing that I mentioned, but there was one other thing that I mentioned in the prior video that I'd like to bring up now, and that is exploring a new aspect of witchcraft or your path. Sometimes we get into a slump because life has gotten too busy, or we're kind of bored with the humdrum of doing the same things, or reading the same things, or thinking about the same things. So exploring a new author that I've never found before, some other aspect of the craft that I've never looked into before, I find that to also help to get me out of a magical slump. Being able to kind of invest myself in some new aspect of the craft that I did not know enough about, or that I just had not practiced a lot before. And sometimes even going back and rereading things that I've read before to kind of remind me why I put my foot on this path in the first place, I find that can be incredibly refreshing as well. So that combination of meditation, getting back to nature, journaling, and exploring new and old aspects of the path, things that drew me to the path in the first place, as well as some new aspect of the craft that I have not explored before, picking up some new author or a new perspective on a path that I have not explored before, I find helps to lift me up out of that and revitalize me in a way that is helpful in getting me back on a spiritual path. I do realize that this video has been a little bit short, but I hope that it's been helpful to at least some of you out there, and entertaining to those of you that it didn't help or did help. And I hope that we have our sunshine back next week. You all have a wonderful weekend, and blessed be.